Hey guys, Dallas Seeley here, and I'm so excited to have a little bit different of a video today. Again, usually we're going in-depth all things real estate in Austin, Central Texas, but today we decided to take a step back and talk about something that is near and dear to our hearts, which is Lucchese, its current legacy, and what we strive to build moving forward. So as you can see, we brought in a couple of our personal collection boots. To my right, your left, we've got some beautiful Gator Bellies, Barrel Brown. We followed by some full Ayala's Brown, some Ayala's Black. We've got the anniversary boot and it's all of its glory. We've got some custom Barons, which we're going to talk about in a bit. We've got some Black Cherry, Gator Bellies, some Anthracite, custom Randalls, and some Peanut Brittle Gator Tails. Again, we're going to take a little bit deep dive, talk about the story of how we got to this point. We're going to unbox some new custom Barons, and then we're going to finish off with why this is so important and why this is so special to me. Again, Dallas Seeley, your definitive real estate expert, coming live from Lucchese's here in Austin, Texas. Excited to dive into it here in a second. All right, guys, so I'm so excited to really talk about the story and the evolution of how we got to this point. So I grew up in Houston, Texas, and my family was heavily involved in the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. And so growing up as a young boy, I remember going to see George Strait and Clay Walker and Alan Jackson and all the big names back in the 90s and the 2000s. And, you know, Lucchese was an integral part of our family and the rodeo and the Houston culture since as far as I can remember. And I got my first pair of Lucchese's when I started high school, and they were the old Lucchese crepe sole 2000s. Perfect boot for a high school kid, rubber soles, ostrich vamps, and you really, you know, a kid could wear them every single day and they would last forever. And so those were my first personal Lucchese's. And then I graduated college and I went to Texas A&M, and like any young Aggie male would, right? I picked up a guitar and I wanted to be a country music rock star. So I started playing guitar and singing around College Station, and I needed a new pair of Lucchese's. So from those crepe soles, I went down to Cavender's Boot City and I got me the old stone-washed Mad Dog goats from the 2000s. I think mine were the stone-washed Lizards, if you guys remember those. Awesome boots, wore those all throughout college. And then I graduated and moved to Austin. Now, there was a period where, you know, I'm starting the business, didn't have a lot of funds for Lucchese's, but I remember it was probably 6, maybe 7 years ago, walking into a famous boot store down on South Congress, and this was before Lucchese had their own, you know, physical shops. And I remember walking the aisles, and there were some beautiful, beautiful custom full ostrich leg boots. And the color tone, the finish on these boots was what really caught my eye. And I'm actually wearing those boots now because I'd never seen a finish like that. And so I went and talked to the sales associate. And funny enough, the story behind these boots, and he explained it all to me, is a customer came in and did a full-blown, extremely custom order to his foot, custom finished, right? All the things. And then when they finally came in, that customer who did the original order just fell off the face of the planet. And so because of that, and they were so custom, not only, and this mattered a lot back then, did he give me a discount on these boots, but I was able to send them back to Lucchese to get relasted to fit me. And so really these custom ostrich leg boots with the custom finish is what really started the whole itch, as they say, the whole knowledge of, wow, there's different products and there's different levels of finishes that you can get with a high-end company like Lucchese. So, from there, we've built the collection over the years, and, we've got a fun unboxing to do today of some really custom bearings. But I was so in love with the finish of those custom ostrich leg boots that, when we got these bearings, just to kind of go in depth about how incredibly detailed you can get when you build a Lucchese boot, I was actually able to send back those full ostrich legs, and they color match the tone of them exactly to these bearings. So we're going to go in depth today. We're going to talk about a lot of details, but just wanted to share my story to this point and how I sort of got the bug and got the itch. All right, guys. So these Andersons are what really kicked off the full blown. All right, I'm getting into this. I'm getting nerdy, and I'm really becoming a boot connoisseur, as you can see. So again, I was at a famous boot store in South Congress. The original person that ordered these kind of just fell off the planet, never came back and got them, and I was able to snag these and get them relasted to fit my foot. And so, for me, you can see that the bootmaker really did an incredible job of hand selecting almost perfection of the scales from the leg. And really the number one thing that attracted me to these boots are going to be the finish. So Lucchese calls this an antiqued burnished finish, and you can see that it just really gives it so much depth and character, right? And so this is what really started it all. I started to build the collection from here as the business took off, right? Disposable income increased. And I want to take a moment to talk about an experience a year and a half ago. Myself and my top director of sales, we flew into El Paso, and we had the privilege of doing the VIP tour experience at the Lucchese factory. And obviously you can't see it because I'm wearing a jacket. But just thinking about it, I get goosebumps. I had no idea the amount of heart and soul put into every single pair of boots. And so, full disclosure, no one is paying me. I don't get anything from saying this. It is one of the top experiences, best of the best I've ever probably experienced in my life, bar none. And so if you ever have a chance to fly down to El Paso and do the VIP tour experience, it will completely change your outlook and perspective on Lucchese as a brand and Lucchese as a family. So we get there, and Juan Hernandez is my guy. He's the one who set it all up. He was the one who was on the tour. The experience was a total of over 3 hours, and we started off with some custom lasts. So we get there. We go into the main room to the right, and there's like 100 pair of custom boots, mostly Fidels, all the different states, right? Handmade boots by the master. And a gentleman named Ricardo comes in. And, if Juan's watching this, I'm still kind of shocked. You didn't really tell me in advance who Ricardo is. He's up there. He's a big dog. He's like over the whole factory now. Like, that guy has been there for a long time, and he was just humble, and he was authentic, and he was excited to take all the measurements. And so we went through that experience, and he showed me the book where, Lucchese keeps it, and all the measurements of your feet and your width and your calves and your ankles and all that's put in for your custom last. And funny enough, he goes, "Oh, look who's right before you." And it was Luka from the Dallas Mavericks was on the page right before me. But if you ever get a chance to do a custom last with Lucchese, they're going to hold your measurements, and they're going to make that custom last. And every single boot that you order for the rest of your life, Lucchese can make them to be custom for your feet. Absolutely incredible way to start off the experience. We then go in there, and you got to imagine this massive massive space. And, don't quote me, but I think there was over 200 different steps on every single boot that is made by hand. And so whether it is, the top line bearings or your entry level, like I was jokingly saying, the old Lucchese 2000s, every single boot is made by hand. And every single person in that factory is at their station, and they do one thing and they do it better than anyone else on the planet. And, what really showed me and my director of sales, JP, initially, the character and really the leadership of the company, all of these people have been at that factory for 15, 20, a lot of them over 30 years, right? And not only getting them to watch them do their craft and to do what they're the best at, but talking to them, and you could just see how much they really loved the brand and were grateful for what they were doing. And so Ricardo and Juan took us through the whole factory step-by-step process. We got to ask so many different questions, from color finish options to thread options to, they took us to the skins department and got to see all the exotic skins. And, I'll move on, but just to summarize how impactful that was, multiple times during the experience, my director of sales, JP, and myself, we looked at each other, and without saying a word, both of us had goosebumps, and we looked at each other and we're like, wow, this is absolutely off the charts, right? It's something that needs to be experienced. It's almost like visiting the Rolls Royce of boot makers, and how every single step, no matter what boots you order, is made by hand, and the amount of passion and the amount of heart put into every single boot was something you definitely got to experience yourself. So we go through the experience, and we're overwhelmed and amazed by all the above and beyond put into every single step, and we're getting ideas. And then you get to finish at the showroom on top of the factory that has really some of the creme de la creme done over the years. And I started to get some ideas. And one of the ideas is, hey, my initials are DS. I've got two boys now. My oldest is Dallas Seeley. My second boy is Duke Seeley, and their initials are DS. And knowing that my boots could always be relasted down the road, I wanted to do something thoughtful. I wanted to do something purposeful, and I wanted to build something what Juan started to dub the legacy boots. And you can see this kind of finished product, back to the ability of Lucchese and their artisans. We actually sent in these custom Andersons because I love the finish so much. And I said, hey, one of the steps on these first pair of legacy bearings that I'm building is I want the finish to match as closely as possible to the boots that really started all. So as you can see, they really nailed on the finish, this antique burnish, right? The second thing I wanted to do is I wanted the initials on the inset right here. That way down the road, these were Dad's boots. These can be passed down, and they can be relasted if necessary to fit my boys. On top of that, we got really, really detailed on even the selection of skins. So, taking these black cherries, if you can see, right, and I'll put these over to the side, some of the details is the square tiles start to hit the tinga, right? And you can see on these black cherries, the tinga comes more up on top of the vamp. Well, I wanted the tinga to really be more subtle and start at the base. So the details of selecting the beauty where I wanted more of these tiles to be prevalent, even going over the 7-toe, the exact placement of the initials, the exact style of the initials, the color of the initials to be a great complement to this kind of antique burnished cognac finish we got going on, to the perfection of the back tiles on the bias cut. So we've got bias cut not only going over the top of the vamp, but a bias on the back, to what I love, the character and the detail of these more smaller square tiles and the tinga, right, going down the side. So the amount of thoughtfulness, the amount of suggestions, the amount of creative ideas from everyone involved in the process of putting together these custom bearings was really just exceeded expectations, and they just nailed it off the charts in every single way. So big shout out to Juan, big shout out to Ricardo, and big shout out to Fernie and all the boot makers over there that had a hand in putting these together. All right, guys, so we're so excited. Thank you again to everyone at Lucchese for allowing us to be here. We are going to unbox the Legacy Boots, Legacy Barons #2. And again, selfishly, I hope that down the road, both my boys can see this video and see how excited I am to have these boots and be able to pass them down years down the road to these guys, and they can see how much thoughtfulness and how much effort was put into these boots from everyone involved. So they just came in. We talked about the evolution to this point. We talked about custom Baron Legacy Boots #1, and we are now going to look and unbox #2. So same thing. There was a lot of effort. There was a lot of thoughtfulness and thought put into them ahead of time. We've got these custom Barons and a matching belt. So we are going to look at the boots first. Put this down. All right. It's exciting. Okay. The moment of truth. So yes, we did go for a little bit different of a custom color. The moment of truth. Wow. So as I'm taking them out of their socks, I'm really hoping that this comes through on the video. Again, I am a big finish guy, and the very first thing I want to talk about is I had conversations with Juan and Ricardo, and I said, hey, you know, I've got some Beryl Brown, and I'll take these just to kind of see the difference. I've got some Beryl Brown, but I think if we're going to do Legacy Boot #2, I really want to start with the finish, and I really want to be purposeful. And so here's what I'm thinking. I'm a big wine guy, and, you know, I'm thinking we still have the underneath brown tones, but add in a little bit of a burgundy, give it a richness, give it a depth where whether it's inside, which we are now, or really if they're out in the sun, it's just gonna pop. And so I think that the team over there at Lucchese absolutely knocked it out of the park with this custom finish, all the custom details. So you can see they are kind of a vice versa, if you will, of the custom color finishes of Legacy Boots #1. So we've got this beautiful kind of beyond rich mahogany color. Think cigar lounge, think mahogany furniture, just really, really rich, deep, incredible depth. We've got the contrasting vice versa cognac in the initials. You know, as you get to the top of the vamp by the 7-toe, we've got some darker tones. Really did another incredible job of having more subtle tinga on the side, with the tiles being more prevalent on the top of the vamp. Same thing, you've got the bias cut on the vamp, you've got the bias cut on the back. Beautiful scales going up the top. Same thing, you've got sort of that matching tinga right there going up the side. Beautiful, beautiful boots. Let me put these up. And then something new that we did on these is, again, these are boots that I intend for my sons to wear down the road. And so what we did, which is the first, and I'm probably going to start doing these on my boots, we had a little quote for them. I don't know if you can see the inside right here, but we had a little quote that says, "Work ethic is the undeniable definition of your character." That's really part of who we are at the Seeley Group, part of who my family is, and it really goes hand in hand with who the Lucchese family is and everyone involved in that organization, especially after what we experienced in El Paso. You can also see that we have really the top people involved in this project. They also signed the inside of the boot. So if you're looking at the inside right underneath the quote, we've got Ricardo, the big dog himself, on the left. We've got Fernie, which is actually, funny enough, Juan's dad, Master Bootmaker, is going to be in the middle. And then Juan's signature is on the right, Mr. Go-To. So really just pumped how these came out. I don't know if you can get this level anywhere else of craftsmanship, from the finish to the selection of the belly skins, to where the tinga starts, to where it fades out, to the contrasting colors of the initials, even measuring exactly where the initials go. Everything about these boots just screams thoughtfulness and attention to detail, and something that is going to be in the family for many generations to come. One thing I also do with all my pairs of boots that I would recommend on anyone that's doing a custom order is you want to get a matching belt, right? And so we've got a matching belt, and it's important that you get a matching belt. If you put in the thoughtfulness for these custom boots, I mean, you for sure want to get a matching belt that has the same finish, right? You want the same artisan at the factory. If you're going to do a custom color finish, to not only do the same custom color finish, but if you're doing something of this level, to where even the tiles and the caliber of the skins that's hand selected, you want the same for your matching belt. So honored, words can't express how grateful I am for everyone at Lucchese for the energy, the thoughtfulness, really the love and the heart and soul put into these. And, just wanted to say thank you so much. I'm excited to pass these down to my boys years down the road. All right, guys, so we had a lot of fun today. Again, first off, and just want to say thank you again to everyone at Team Lucchese for allowing us to be here in store for this special unboxing video. We talked about the history, kind of evolution to this point, starting off as a kid, being around the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, Lucchese always being involved in our family, and really the culture down there, to high school, the Lucchese 2000s, to college, right? Playing guitar, singing music, having the old Stonewash boots, to really, the custom Andersons that really kicked off the niche, knowing that there's so much possibility and customization within a company as Lucchese, to then going down to El Paso and doing the VIP experience. And really, again, as I think about that experience, I get chills to learn firsthand how much heart and soul and love that every single person puts into every single set of hand-built boots. So, from that moment, I'm a lifelong fan. Again, I cannot say thank you enough to everyone involved in the making of these legacy boots. Just absolutely crushed it off the charts. I'm excited for not only my boys to see this video down the road, but for them to kind of understand how much love and purposefulness went into the makings of every single detail of these boots. We've got some fun ones coming up down the road, so I'm excited to make another video kind of sharing that. Yeah, usually we're talking about real estate. We're talking about the market, how we can help you buy, sell, or invest into anything real estate here in Austin or Central Texas. But wanted to take a moment to kind of get nerdy on something that I'm passionate about and have a fun video on unboxing something that a lot of people put a lot of love into. So once again, I'm Dallas Seeley, the Seeley Group, coming to you live here at the Lucchese store in Austin, Texas. Thank you again to everyone involved in the making of these boots. And thank you again for Lucchese and allowing me to do this very, very cool unboxing video here in the store. Dallas Seeley, we'll see you next time.